If you're looking for the best clothing deals in Salt Lake County, one place stands out for the price, quality, and the selection, and that's Zalzo. Zalzo is your destination for up to 70% off premium and mid-luxury brands every single day. Tucked just off of 3900 South in Murray, Zalzo carries the brands you actually want to wear at the prices you're happy to pay. Run over to our store today and see for yourself the weekly updates to the always impressive and expansive inventory of both adult and children's clothing. While you're here, don't forget to check out the weekly markdown racks with even steeper deals. Stuck on a work call? Go to Zalzo.com, that's ZALLZO.com for information and a listing of in-store deals. Zalzo, you'll come in just to look, but we know you'll leave hooked.
As our coach said, it's going to be a dogfight, but we are ready for that, and it's 90 minutes, we need to give everything, so yeah, we need to be locked in.
At the end of the day, the fans would see it, you know. We've been trying to represent them on the pitch, and we are going to give our 100% every single game for them. And
can't wait to get back and put on, the RSL jersey and in front of the fans that have been amazing support. Without them, without RSL, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, so I'm extremely grateful and I'm excited.
What's up, RSL Nation?
Welcome to the Royal Riot.
Salvas gets it away. Catranes, the square ball. Diego Luna! It's Diego Luna now trying to turn. Luna! Oh, it's in! What a goal! A lot of space for Johnny Russell. Johnny Russell! His first start for Real Salt Lake. His first goal for Real Salt Lake. One hole! Magnificent from Real Salt Lake. And Noel Kaliskan with the best goal he's probably ever scored.
Oh, turns, overlap on the right side. Gonzalez! Yes!
Brian Ojeda. Here's a got out, third time. Is it a charm? Monaghan, Luna! Yes! Cabral has been insatiable in goal. Zuniga now! Cabral, the hero! Man, this guy's good! They have found a keeper in Salt Lake City!
Hey, welcome in, everybody. This is David, who is moderating. I'm trying to take over Hayden's job, his salary, everything that he gets out of this show. I'm trying to just, take it for myself. But Hayden, we have Hayden here, actually. But, he's been driving. He's had a long day. It's been a Monday for Hayden. Hayden, how you been doing?
What an
I'm
idiot.
not allowed to say that I've had a long day. My friend who I work with works with me. Obviously, he works with me. I just said he works. I work with him. But my buddy, he basically listens to this, probably our most loyal listener. And anytime I talk about work or complain, he gives it to me. And he just goes crazy on me. So I can't say I worked hard. But David prepped so much, and he tried to screw me in the points rankings. So I had to come on and just say that David, while he's trying to take my salary, I won't let it go down without a fight. That's all.
Sounds good. Well, actually, was really happy when I heard that you could join tonight, and I'm excited to hear your takes. We're also with another person who is in the southern part of the United States, LD, who just
Not anymore.
left. Yeah, no, we're gonna switch into Maddie, okay? Because Maddie now is in Utah, so he's more loyal to us, I guess. But Maddie, how are you feeling today?
I am now known as Maddie of Midvale, and that is how I should be referred to.
Eminem, I love it.
Lord Matty of Midvale.
Yes, I love
Lord Matty of the Vale.
I see what you did there. Very good. Very good. Yeah, everything's great, man. Slowly getting moved into the new place. Got to give all of my flowers this week to our colleague, Jimmy, who helped me move on Saturday, without whom I would probably be in the hospital with a broken back. So, Jimmy, love you to death, buddy.
Jimbo.
You're doing horrible in predictions, though, Jimmy. Not going to lie. You're doing horrible in predictions.
Jimmy,
But,
you suck
yeah.
at this prediction game.
It's because he spends all his time helping out his friends.
That's good.
True.
We can't have any Jimbo slander this week. Literally, my wife will hunt you guys down.
I just love how he wants, like, I would say an extreme consequence for losing this thing. And he's the one who's like, probably, I don't know. It's only 3 games in. We can't say anything too much. But LD, you got disconnected.
This is one of those things where every assertion is an admission. And Jimmy's like, hey, you know, it'd be really funny if we make the person who loses get a tattoo on their butt, and then proceeds to suck. I'm just saying, like, if you want to get a tattoo, bro, just say you want to get a tattoo.
True.
Yeah.
He has been doing that.
I'm doing pretty good. I don't know
but LD,
what that
you've
kind
been
of
actually
curse was.
pretty
As
good
soon
on
as you
the
said my name,
predictions.
my
How are
Wi-Fi
you
just
feeling
dropped.
today?
But hopefully that's not too much of an issue throughout this recording session. I do want to go back, though, to something about Hayden. He was originally not going to be on the podcast. And so I want to let all the listeners know that Hayden went out of his way to type up a more than 500-word thought text to all of us saying that he wasn't going to be on the podcast, that we were expected to share his thoughts. And I just want to let everyone know that after he typed up this novel of a text, the responses from the rest of the group were, Maddie, I can't read all of that. What do I look like, a doctor? And then the next text was from David, who said, as an English teacher, I would like this in MLA format. And then I went on to text, usually if someone misses a recording, they just don't share their thoughts. And so I just am happy, Hayden, that you're here to share your thoughts, and would like you to know I was not going to allow David to read your monster of a text on what you felt the team state was at this moment in time with you not being present. But I'm happy to be here, David. Maddie, it's always good to see you. Hayden, of course, I love that you're here, but enough of this expecting that we're going to share your thoughts when you're not on the podcast for whatever week it is that you're gone. All right? We're gonna stop that. So you don't trust in David. You don't believe in David. I just wanted David
as a host to have material throughout the entire thing, not share it all at once, of course.
I can't have my own thoughts.
No, David just doesn't. He hasn't matured enough to have his own thoughts. I have to give him thoughts to have.
Can't wait to hear what Maddie has to say right now.
That's really what it is. It's just I'm looking out for David from the bottom of my heart. I'm a good guy.
I threw out the doctor thing because I'm still tagging Hato from last week, but his thoughts boiled down. I used AI to boil this down, so if it's wrong, blame AI. We overpaid for Morgan. We should sell Luna ASAP for whatever offer we can get, and make Philip Quinton a DP immediately. See you next week. Love Hayden.
This is not true.
That's what it says, guys. That's what it says.
This is blatant lies. I will be suing. I'm taking you to court.
There's nothing wrong with saying PQ should be a DP, man. The dude leads the team in assists.
Yeah, something.
Facts.
Let's do it.
Sounds good. Well, should we start with some official news, my friends? We first have Leagues Cup was announced. So that was announced earlier last week by RSL that Tigres will be coming into town August 4th. You need to help me with the second one. Is it Mazatlan?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. David, David, let me interrupt you real quick. I am going to say, I did not think we would have someone that would be able to challenge Hayden and mispronunciations. So please do not get down to Hayden's level. I am pleading that isn't the case, because it's just too much fun to make fun of Hayden when he doesn't say things right, and we can't have someone doing worse than him. All right?
Yeah. Especially when we also have Stockton on the Royals side of the podcast that just also can't pronounce anything. So it's pretty elite combo whenever Stockton and I were on the podcast.
A pronunciation guide for that second one. Like Tigres. I
love how
right.
LD throws a Snickers bar in the pool and then just drops off the podcast again.
He's just having Wi-Fi issues. He does this every time that he doesn't want to talk to David. It's probably David's fault. Hey
man, I am looking forward to Leagues Cup. I think that there are any number of parallel timelines where MLS and Liga MX have already merged. Liga MX, sorry. And I think that this tournament is incredibly fun to watch. I'm always excited to see Tigres come to Sandy and see what's going to happen. Hopefully we don't get a storm. Hopefully Dan Farnsey and the grounds crew can keep cats off the field. because we don't need any further bad luck. I know a lot of people aren't
I love
excited
Leagues
about
Cup.
this
I've
tournament,
always been
but
a big,
I am
I've
very
always
much
been
so.
a big supporter of
And
Leagues Cup.
LD, what are
I've
your
had to like
thoughts
fight my
on Leagues
battles,
Cup?
even in this podcast with some of my co-host members, as well as on social media, about like why I think the Leagues Cup is a really cool opportunity. We don't have to get into the weeds of like exactly all the details of why, but I do think it's an awesome tournament. I think it's a fun tournament. As someone who's Hispanic, watching a lot of Liga MX teams growing up, it's really cool to see a lot of these teams that you don't normally get to see play MLS teams all the time. Even though we have CONCACAF Champions Cup, there's a lot of teams that don't get the matchups, right? And you have the chance to match up with other Central American teams. So it's not always sure that you're going to see an RSL team play a Liga MX team. So I love Leagues Cup. I think it's really cool. I'm happy that they're finally giving some of the Mexican teams home games. I think that's going to be a really good mix up in the tournament format. So yeah, I'm just overall excited every year for it. And I think, the more they make tweaks to it to make it as fair as a competition as possible for both sides, the better it's going to get. So
awesome. Hayden, take it away.
This might be breaking news, but I didn't read the article, so I didn't know that Liga MX teams were getting home games. That's actually pretty sick. Breaking news to Hayden.
Finishes
figured that out right
Liga
now.
MX or something
Who's
like that.
getting home games?
The
like the
exact
top
criteria
teams,
was,
or
but they're for sure home games for them. I know Seattle. I think Seattle doesn't Seattle have to go travel to Mexico?
and then
that was one that
who's going to have to
I
go?
haven't honestly
Is it
looked at it,
just
but
going to be them playing against each other? They should have made like the bottom of MLS, which would have been RSL, because we were one of the last teams, if not the last team, to qualify this year for this tournament. Overall, I think it's a fun tournament just to watch. The thing is, if there's 3 CONCACAF champion spots on the line still, sign me up. I want to get into that tournament. So any way that we can get there, this is probably the easiest pathway, or I should say most straightforward pathway, not easiest, but most straightforward, because you only have to play like 6 games to get there, and they're all within a month's timeline. So overall, this is probably the most straightforward way to get into this Champions Cup. So as long as they keep on giving 3. But again, I didn't read the article, so I didn't even know. It was breaking news to me.
One other thing about the Leagues Cup that really makes it magical to me is you can see the difference between a league where everybody gets into the playoffs and a league where matches have real consequence. So I don't know if you remember RSL versus Club America last year. RSL was up with they were in injury time with minutes to go, and you could see RSL drop their guard, and you could see Club America was like, we play to the final effing whistle. And they got the result, and RSL didn't advance because of that mentality. So I think it's an excellent yardstick to see where MLS needs to get as far as being mentality monsters. Because the Liga MX teams, man, they have it.
I think the 80 missed chances in front of the goal might have had something to do with that too. Was that the one where Piol had the awful miss right in front?
I'll give RSL fans.
Yeah, Piol. Yeah,
I'll give RSL fans some credit though. They kind of at first dog Leagues Cup a lot, but once we get into Leagues Cup games, they are very supportive, especially in the games. It's really cool to see how everybody still rallies behind RSL and hope and wants them to do good. So as much as complaining that I hear about Leagues Cup and it being a waste of games and minutes and taxing on the players and their fitness, I do think that whatever competitions RSL plays in, the fan base does rally behind them and wants them to compete and do well. So I think that'll be the same case this year as usual.
Yeah. And finally, with my thoughts, I like how Leagues Cup is evolving. If this was Leagues Cup year 1, I would probably still have the same feelings. You're going to take a month and a half break from league play, and all the Mexican teams are going to come here, and all the commentator teams talk about how MLS is so much better than Liga MX. And I do like how this competition is evolving, because honestly, I do think it's more fair that there's going to be some games played in Mexico. And I do think that's the measuring stick right there. Not that you have these Mexican teams that are literally away from their family, away from their training grounds for 3 weeks or more. So basically, I'm happy with Leagues Cup. I'm excited to see what Real Salt Lake, how they do in this tournament. And I've always seen that they've kind of added some youth at times as well. So they can experiment a little bit more without really having their, I would say, MLS league play diminish. So yeah, that was a piece of news. We also had a sad piece of news, of course, with Ari Piol having a successful surgery, but it means that he'll be out for the rest of the season. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Maddie, but this potentially does open up a U22 spot and an international spot. So both of those, if they put him on season-ending injury list, which there probably is no reason, like, why wouldn't you? But how does this work out, Maddie? Piol's injury.
No, to the best of my knowledge, you're correct. They can put him on season-ending PUP, and then replace him if they want to. LA Galaxy famously didn't do so when Ricky Puig went down with the ACL, but that's because they thought they could have him at the end of the year. With Ari, I'm not sure that that's realistic, even though I know I pushed back on your tweet because they never actually said for sure he's out the whole year. I've spent entirely too much time down a rabbit hole trying to find out the quickest people have come back from ACLs. And the answer is, who's that guy that I couldn't stand? Zlatan Ibrahimovic came back in like 6.5 months, and Jordan Morris came back from one of his in less than 7 months. But generally speaking, it's 9 months. So for all intents and purposes, I think we can say that Ari's, done for the year. I'm glad that his surgery went well. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that he gets to use this year in the film room, watching other forwards, staying around the team, staying positive. Because,
go ahead, Hayden.
We've had him on the podcast. He's just such a great young man.
Do we know if there is a timeline that they have to put a player on that season-ending list? Like, do they have a deadline, or can we just wait until June, see if we need to open that up for the summer window opening in, July and August? Because if there's no timeline, then we're not adding a U22 now, so there's no real reason to put him on it unless we really need to add an international spot.
I can find out at training tomorrow, and then I will reply to the tweet that drops this episode. I'll reply to that with the answer to your question. How's that?
Yeah, Maddie, that's great.
Yeah, it does say on the press release that he is expected to miss the remainder of the 2026 MLS season. And I will say that with international spots being as valuable as they are right now, it probably would make sense to put them there. But I think there's a bigger discussion to be had. And that discussion starts with, do we need another backup striker? And we'll get into the game, of course. Our backup striker for this match did pretty well, honestly. But still, I would say relatively unproven. You're just a super draft pick, and Forster Jago was a super
Those
draft
are fighting
pick.
words with Maddie.
I know.
Just a super draft pick.
No, I'm just saying.
2 fighting words, yeah.
I'm just saying he's not as proven as a lot of backup strikers in MLS. Typically, your backup striker is at least at a TAM level, and we had that for many years.
This is Maddie's
Julio, but LD, I don't know.
I'm gonna turn the mic over to Maddie because I can just see it
fight me right now.
within
But
him.
do you think we need a backup striker?
I guess my question is, do you consider a Mecca Anelli a TAM level player? Because
he's not one.
He's injured, but when he's healthy, do you consider him TAM level? I mean, he's just a super draft pick.
But he grew into that, right? Like, we didn't start him as
Sergi
a TAM player.
Sergi can't grow into it? If you know what? If you want, how about this? Because otherwise we'll just drag down into a pit of us fighting. Let's talk about the match. And every time you guys are talking about a play, I'm going to point out something about Sergi Solans that I promise you didn't notice. Because I think this guy's got all the tools. I think he can be a unicorn striker for us. I think he can be a 15-goal scorer. And I want to present my evidence. So let's talk about the 90 minutes that we've seen him play as a starter.
That's what you get for trying to take my job, wild, David. Though. Maddie from the top ropes.
I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Starting that sentence off with talking about going against draft picks, I just knew Maddie was going to go crazy. And then bringing up a Jago too, I was like, oh, David, you did it. You broke the golden rule. I love it.
A Jago has a tool, okay? He's large and physical, and if you get him the ball inside the 6-yard box, he will almost always score, which sounds simplistic, but think about all the people who miss from there. What Forster didn't do as well when he was with RSL is dribble. And yet, for some reason, they kept getting him the ball 30 yards from goal and then acting surprised when it went horrifically badly.
I agree.
Okay? Sergi, I think, has a lot more tools in his bag coming out of the gate. And before we even talk about him, let's just say that he's faster than you think, because I've been watching this dude in training, and you can't coach speed. It's something that Ari has, something that Sergi has. When we talk about his first goal, I'll tell you right now, Ari doesn't make that run, okay? Morgan hits the pass the way a European would hit that pass, and Sergi was on the exact same page with him, okay? When Morgan hits the pass, Sergi and the defender are kind of next to each other. Sergi runs behind the defender, and every other MLS striker that I ever see runs in front of their defender, making it very easy to defend him because the ball and the defender on the ball and the striker are on the same side. The defender doesn't have to turn. When Sergi runs behind him, the defender has to turn and look at him for a second. That's how Sergi got separation. Then he looks the goalie down and hits it to his right. That's not the only thing I want to talk about Sergi, who will be getting one of my stars tonight. Preview, spoiler alert, whatever you want to call it. That's not the only amazing thing that he did, but it is something that while you can coach it, it's spotty. Okay. And I love Bobby Wood. That's not a run that Bobby Wood would have made. And if you think I'm wrong on that, then go ask Pablo, because I bet Pablo would back me up.
For sure. I do want to put it out there. I'm not a Sergi hater. Okay. I'm just saying that. I just think that when obviously you have a player that like goes on a season-ending injury, are we going to go get a replacement or are we going to just stay content? And I'm fine. I loved what Sergi Solans did. I loved it. Hayden.
If we need like a big money guy at that position to make you happy, then just think back of what you saw from Emmanuel Latte Lath and ask yourself whether he would make you happier than Sergi right now.
I don't think you need a backup striker.
That's a $20 million player.
Well, one, I think that's like, I don't know. I think that's different because Olatunji's the 9, right? So if we're talking about a backup 9, we're not going to go get a $20 million striker. But I didn't even think Piol should have been the backup striker. And that's mainly because I have now seen enough to be confident that Aiden, Gozo, Morgan all need to be playing with Olatunji. That's 4 guys in the attack. Only 3 of them can actually play. You can't play everyone that wants to be or that we really need to play. So having a backup 9, I don't think we need one. I think we have a good enough player with Morgan to go into that 9, with Gozo to go into that 9. And are they going to play the most traditional spearhead 9? No. Is this a team that really needs that traditional spearhead 9? I don't think so. I mean, we've seen Piol these first couple of weeks where he's been playing really well. It's been more in the midfield. That's where I've really liked his effort. Any of those guys can play in the midfield very well. I mean, we're talking about this game, Solans, where he played really, really well in the midfield. He does make terrific runs, but he puts so much effort into the midfield area where any of our other guys can do that as well. Olatunji is much more of that traditional 9, which I think will be a good spearhead. But I think that we have enough attackers to make work, and we don't have enough. There's not enough international spots to go and sign a new one. There's not enough roster spots to go. We already have the biggest roster in the league. So I really don't think that there's any need to go sign one. I didn't think Piol was one, and I was fine with it being Olatunji and the others. Whoever needs to play that 9 can. We don't need a traditional spearhead 9 with the guys that we have. It's obvious that we can work it out with or without the traditional. But overall, Olatunji, hopefully just getting back to health. But I'd love to talk about the game.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I know. I did some news and a discussion. Okay, I was going to ask LD, but when your Wi-Fi is bad, you don't get to talk. So, availability. Anelli, Yedlin, Piol, Henry, Luna, Olatunji, all out. We have the lineup, Cabral, Quinton. I say that with enthusiasm. And then Justin Glad, Lucas Engel. That was your back line. You had Xavier Gozo as the right wing back, Luka Moisa again as the CM. And then Noel Caliscan, you had Sanabria as the left wing back there. And then Aiden Hezarkhani, Solans, and Morgan as your top 3. Now, we already kind of went through that first goal. So that was the goal that started off the game, 1-0 in the 24th minute. Really, Morgan takes that ball around the halfway mark and then picks up his head and places a perfectly weighted ball to the left of the defender and Solans. And he just beats him with pace, right? And just like Maddie said, he looks the goalkeeper in the eye, slots it home, clinical as can be. Also, really good celebration. I thought that was amazing. But how do we feel? That was 1-0 up at Atlanta. That kind of surprised me.
Yeah,
I kind of predicted a loss, but the boys started
I was just going to say, I think when you have,
if you go back
to
the
guy who's basically getting, his first, no, not basically, he did get his first start with the team as the guy who, and it was, like you said, it wasn't a fluky goal, right? It was a fantastic run. The timing on his runs are ridiculous. Like, he does so well at matching up to make the defender have to really pay attention to the attacker near him, which is Solans, because he just does his timing so well with these runs. So, but the fact that he put away the goal that he did, and that was the first goal of the game, and like, we were looking kind of all right, but then we kind of, got into a point where we were really under pressure with Atlanta. And then to kind of take all that pressure away by scoring that goal, I think it was a really cool thing for RSL fans to kind of like not only breathe a sigh of relief, but be like, holy crap, like one of our kids just did it again. Like, that's the cool thing about right now that's happening, right? Is that we have kids that are stepping up to the plate. And it's one thing to have kids step up to the plate in Vancouver and help you not get demolished in Vancouver and only lose because of a, kind of a fluky goal, we'll say. And then have the kids step up again and have you win your home game, right? For your home opener. But then have the kids step up again in this game and to open up the scoring after, like, it's just cool to see that, like, there's a narrative of the kids are doing the thing, but it's so consistent. It's not just a one-off. It's not like the kids showed up, and everyone would be content with a one-off if the kids just showed up for one game, right? But they've shown up for all three. And I think that's what's been so cool. So to see Sergi Solans open it up again to like continue that narrative of like the kids are doing like the damn thing. Like, I think that's what was so exciting as an RSL fan. And you already kind of like instilled with confidence, like, guys, we might be like the team this year, So I think that was kind of a cool, I guess, feeling or moment that I had thinking about back to Sergi's goal and kind of how I was feeling after he'd put it away in the back of the net.
Yeah, and to go off on that too, this is the game that I think put RSL's homegrowns, this generation of homegrowns, on the map more just in the public media. Obviously, again, we played well in Vancouver. We played well against Seattle. We knew that. The fan base that has been watching the game knew that. This, for whatever reason, is the game that got the media talking because it got consistent. They saw Gozo where, I mean, his goal, absolute thing of beauty. It's up for goal of the week right now. Go vote for it on MLS's website, or actually not on their website. We are against MLS's website, but go to MLS's social medias and you can vote for it there. And then, Aiden's goal as well, just fantastic. And you see these goals, and the narrative is Gozo sneaky World Cup dark horse at this point. 18-year-old Gozo, is this a kid that you just take along for the ride? Because every year, a lot of teams, though, not every year, but every 4 years, a lot of teams, they'll do that. They'll just bring that 18-year-old. Almada, a good example from Atlanta for Argentina. He didn't play much, if at all, when he went to the World Cup, but it's kind of just there for the ride. You just have that last roster spot and you say, let's take somebody that will be important for the next generation, the next World Cup, and see what happens. So I've seen that a little bit in the media, and just the national MLS media has really started to say, hey, it's not just New York Red Bulls, because that's who was everyone hyping up pretty early on. But right now, RSL's getting a lot of hype because of the kids. And I just don't know how Pablo Mastroeni's not coach of the week. You go on the road, you're incredibly heavy underdog to an Atlanta team that has all these attackers. Again, this Atlanta team, they are a mess. They are really bad. They need to blow that thing up. I don't know how you fix it when you spent that much money and you have a coach of that prestige and everything. Like, that's a whole nother conversation. But the fact is, that was their home opener, and RSL took it to them from the very beginning. We did not look outplayed, which is what I thought. I thought the only way we got points is a smash and grab. And we looked very, very good with teenagers in that goal with Solans. I mean, he finished. That's all we want. We've had that 9. We've had 1v1s. And how often do we actually see them put it away? Not very often. So that 1v1 where he looks off the keeper, puts it away as smooth as he likes, fantastic from him. Super happy.
And if you go back and watch the recap, okay, this is the year. My New Year's resolution is I'm not going to make people go back and watch the whole match to see what I'm talking about. If you just watch the recap, Evgeny Vogi has a brilliant chance inside the first minute. I think it's about 43 or 44 seconds if it had hit the net, but it didn't. It was deflected into the crossbar. The ball was passed to him by Gozo, who got the ball from anyone? Super draft pick Sergi Solans, who was facing in the sideline, had 2 defenders behind him, and spun and chested the ball between the defenders and onto Gozo's foot. Sergi Solans, remember the name.
Okay, and to clear my name, I love the super draft. I believe in what Jason Christ says when he says we have to use all avenues to get players. We can't just be really good at the academy. We have to really be good at every single thing, because we're not going to spend $22 million on Latte Lath, which,
Oh my
aka
goodness.
worst signing in MLS history, in my opinion. But
It's starting to not even get debatable. It's starting to get really bad.
I mean,
really
he had
bad.
a nice assist, but we should stop and shout out all the people who are blowing up our chat. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. We love you guys. Thank you. And ladies, thank you so much.
Will say his assist is his 10th goal contribution to Atlanta in a year and a little bit of a start, but still not good enough
he
for
started
22
last
million.
March. No.
But yeah, we go into Aiden's goal. I was about to say Hayden, which you didn't do anything, right?
I did everything.
We have Aiden's goal, which
he didn't even go to the game.
Played a good
what a
part
slacker.
Of, you guys. But he finds himself in the middle of the action again. Solans flicks the ball to Aiden, who I have to watch the replay like 3 times about how he controls that ball. It was an amazing piece of, I would just say, him just trying to get it down and getting it on balanced, really just well balanced. And it puts them 2-0 up. And at that point, my phone's blowing up what is happening? 2-0 away is a great scoreline to have at the 20th minute. So that was only 3 minutes after the initial goal.
Sorry,
yes,
David,
Maddie?
you buried the lead there. Who passed that ball to Aiden Hezarkhani?
I think a super draft pick. I don't know.
I think it was super draft pick trialist number 22, Sergi Solans. It was tough to know. I don't blame you for not knowing because his jersey was falling apart and disintegrating by that time. But yes, it was Sergi Solans who passed the ball to Aiden Hezarkhani, who chests the ball into his own path, into driving the play into the box, holding a player off with his left hand, away from his body, dude, don't even try to come over here. And then make some space getting the ball from his left to his right and just top bin spider killer. Aiden Hezarkhani, a big stud.
I want to put out there, though, I followed Sergi Solans' UCLA season the entire last season. I put him on my Twitter notifications, and I saw every single goal. And now I'm getting this.
David, this is all self-inflicted, buddy. You buried a grenade in your front yard and then you danced on it.
David, famous college draft pick hater.
Yep.
David, famous development hater. Should we start saying that?
Yeah.
Wow. David probably doesn't even watch the
33-year-olds.
Monarchs. Fake fan.
Oh, I won't take that. David definitely watches.
LD and I are over here learning who Sergi Solans and Aiden Hezarkhani are for the first time this season, making fun of David over here. We're seeing these guys David will literally chat to me and he's like, these guys, have you heard anything about this player? I'm like, David, I've never heard of that player in my life. And he's like, I saw a picture of him in spring training. And I'm like, David.
One more thing I want to add with Sergi is, if he would have just scored that goal, we would have all been content, right? The stuff that he did the rest of the game to still make it miserable on the defenders is another thing that you have to take into consideration. So he's obviously got some pressure on him right now because he's going to have to fight for minutes, obviously, throughout this season, right? He's going to have to show time and time again that what he did in Atlanta isn't just a one-time coincidence that was an awesome moment for a super draft rookie, right? He's going to have to show that this is something that he can consistently do. But what I saw after the goal, with it being so early in the game, and what he went on to do the rest of that match, as well as the examples that you guys brought up and what he did in the other opportunities that he had in those other matches this season, I think that shows good promise that he can actually be a very important piece for us when it comes to playing that 9 position. But obviously, we got to keep seeing it. But from what I saw in that match, I'm very excited, and I want him to get those minutes, to get those chances, to be able to continue to show that he's capable of, being that, whether it's that guy when he starts every now and then with spot starts throughout the season, can still put the ball in the back of the net, or whether he's coming off the bench, that he's going to torment back lines and be someone that we could use. I'm kind of feeling bad because, before this season started, I had said Tyler Wolff was going to be my breakout player of the year. And I guess Sergi would more be a newcomer player of the year, but he is going to be my guy that I think he's going to be the dark horse that came out of nowhere. And everyone's going to be where did this, guy come from? Besides Maddie and David, who knew all about him before he came to RSL. So wild, absolutely wild. He also predicted us to lose in Atlanta. So,
Yes. No, I'm sorry. Dead. Okay, I will say, I just thought Atlanta had a bad, they started the first 2 games away. That's and they really needed to show up. And all the commentators are saying this now, and I'm listening to the podcast, Atlanta didn't show up, and now, the alarm bells are going off, and this was the game that they needed to, because when you're on the road for the first 2 or 3 games of the season and you get a couple losses, that, that makes sense.
Hold on. Sorry.
But,
one more thought, David.
Yeah. Now we got to talk about Morgan.
I promise. Pause right there.
Concede on that.
I will just say,
Morgan played so
it would have been
well.
so
Not
RSL
even...
for us to win in Seattle and then go to Atlanta, play a bunch of kids, and just get absolutely dog smacked in Atlanta, right? Especially because Atlanta needed that win at home, right? It would have been so RSL, and we all would have been like, yeah, okay, like, it was fun winning in Seattle, but whatever. Like, I think that's what's so cool and different about this team this year and why it has the fans so excited, because it was the unexpected result. Like, I know we all predicted, like, yeah, there could be a win, but like, the belief that we had in that, I don't think we really actually knew until we saw Sergi put that goal in the back of the net, and we're like, we might actually pull this off. So I think that's what's so exciting is that, and I get why you predicted a loss, because it would have been so RSL to go to Atlanta and get smacked in Atlanta, but it didn't happen. And I think that's why this team is different this year. So I'm just super excited that was the outcome of what ended up happening. But anyway, okay, done with that. Go ahead, David. Go start talking about how Morgan's a god.
For sure. Morgan is a god. Yeah, right? First off, I will say that he was dangerous pretty much the entire time he was on the field. And I know that his name is only on the score sheet one time with the first assist, but it just felt like he was always doing something. And that is something that we miss from a DP. His name was constantly on the broadcast, and there was so many times last year that Diogo was just a ghost. So I'm super excited and also I will say that I love Morgan's attitude. It just seems like he's there wanting to help the team. He's smiling all the time. He is providing, I would say, leadership to a young attack as well, because, Sergi's not going to get that ball from pretty much anyone else. So I will say Morgan had a great game overall. It's super exciting. Maddie, any thoughts? Because I guess I overlooked our beautiful DP that Hayden so rightfully pointed out.
I love abusing people who short shrift the draft, which I've been doing the Hato for years, but it bothers me when like other people join in and then it becomes like a bullying thing. And I almost feel bad for you, David. So I apologize for starting that off or for kicking that off. I think I'd like to again go to our chat, and people are pointing out that Morgan has looked dangerous from the first ball. And I just want to restate something I just put in the chat. The thing that I love almost more than the ball he played, his first ball against Vancouver, was that he was demanding the ball from Jay Glad the second Jay Glad got it. And Morgan clearly already knew what he wanted to do with it. And again, like, he and Solans are on the same page. And I love that demanding for the ball. And it's something I always wanted to see from Diogo, and I very rarely did. It's something that I treasure about Diego Luna. Even 2 years ago when he was a younger player on the team, when you watch him play live, it's not always on the broadcast, but live, he is constantly screaming, I'm open, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. I want players like that on my team. I thought that Morgan was feasting in the half space between Atlanta's back four and their D-mids. And as much as I loved watching him do it, it was frustrating to watch Miggy Almiron doing the exact same thing to us. He kept getting into that space between Noel and Moisa and our back line. And then the announcer's like, wow, he's getting a lot of space. And I'm like, he's doing the exact same thing that Morgan Giavogi is doing. So I love the idea that maybe Morgan can do it against our guys in training and show them how to deal with somebody like Miggy Almiron, who's, top tier player in this league. He's a little older, a little slower, but he's got the experience. Clearly, he was carving us up. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Morgan, and I can tell you personally, just from chatting to him, there's no ego at all. He's a very pleasant, like, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. Like, great dude. And everyone seems to love him around the club. So he's someone that Kurt, I don't know if he said this in public, but I'll tell you that this is a player that RSL has had their eye on for a long time, and that they wanted to get him before he went to St. Pauli. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. But they were over the moon. And it was like there was no question when it was possible again, they were like, yes, what do we have to do? They've wanted this guy for a long time. They feel like he fits the RSL philosophy. And I agree.
Morgan is getting into too many like potential goal scoring opportunities where he's not going to be, it's not like he's going to be showing up on the stat sheet. You know what I mean? Again, this was his first start. He barely got, some minutes in the last game. But like the last game, he had that breakaway opportunity. If he could have like put that away a little bit more, he should have been in the back of the net. But again, it was literally his first time showing up for the team. This game, right? that I don't like that goal, that shot that he had that deflected and then ended up going off the post. Like that was going in. Like I was looking at the trajectory of that. That was going far side netting. And so I think that he's getting into these opportunities where the goals, I mean, assists are already popping up already on his end, but the goals are going to come. Like you said, Hayden, I would be fine too if he's getting everybody else on the stat sheet. But like I said, he's just getting into way too many opportunities to where I think he's going to have a good amount of goals and assists, even if he's distributing as much as he is or being involved in the attack as much as he is to not be the one eventually scoring the goal. I just see him in too many goal-threatening positions that I think he's still going to have a good amount of substance under his belt, even if he's hooking up Diego, Gozo, Solans, whoever it is on the other end, Olatunji. So I think that's an exciting thing that we have to await as he continues to get, minutes and his feet under him with his team.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And shout out to like MLS writing legend Matt Doyle. He was asked today on the podcast Soccer Wise over or under if Morgan gets more than 10 assists, and he went over. That's just showing how even some analysts around the league are looking at that performance, and it was very dominated performance. Now, I do want to get to a little bit further in the match. We're only at the 27th minute, guys. We gotta move this along. We're going as slow as the match did, but I would say Atlanta come back at the 38th minute with a cross on the left side to okay, help me out, Maddie. Pronounce this name, Moranchuk, the goal scorer, Alexi, and slots it with his left foot into the back of the net. Now, I saw this goal only once live. Is there anything you noticed, Maddie, while watching the replay?
Just that as much as there is a Xavier Gozo love fest going on league-wide, and if anyone wants to listen to Soccer Wise, their episode today start at 13:35 if you just want to hear 10 minutes of how awesome the young players are for Real Salt Lake. But he was way off of his player, the guy who crossed that ball in. But Xavier's learning how to play wingback on the fly. And this is the half where he's on the far side of the field where Pablo and the staff can't kind of help him with his positioning. So as disappointing as his positioning was on that particular instance in the moment, in a second, we're going to talk about why I just love Gozo.
Of course. And that brings us to the 40th minute, 2 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, that could have been something that made a young player put their head down. And instead, Gozo.
Now, let's just talk about, I would say, one of the players that is having a comeback year, Philip Quinton, obviously, pinging a ball to Gozo on that right side. And Gozo, he works his way in the box really well, and just slots it home. And that's when I was like, what is this game? This game is crazy. 3-1. Great response, going into half. But I will have to say, as a, super draft hater, I don't like Philip Quinton. No, I'm kidding. I like Philip Quinton, and I'm really happy that he is showing that he can be a reliable backup. And I do think that we need to keep playing him, even though I heard Kobe Henry is working himself back from injury. But we need to reward what he's doing. He's doing great at that right center back. But going into Gozo, whenever he scores nowadays, all I see is like money signs as well. Like, I am like, what is it? Duck McScrooge or whatever?
Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck, right?
It's like diving into coins.
You see that these highlights are going straight into the inboxes of scouts and people in Europe just taking note of what this 18-year-old is doing. It was an amazing goal. What do you have, Maddie?
Just real quick, the guy that he backed off was playing in La Liga last year. Okay, I forgot his name, but he was playing for Getafe. And also, when you watch this goal on the recap, please take a look at my man Hezarkhani, who's making a run we haven't seen since we lost Matt Tree Crooks. Aiden Hezarkhani goes blasting across the face of goal to the far post, and that opens up space for Gozo so that he remains one-on-one and he can cut the ball to his weaker left foot, I say weaker in quotes, and bang in a goal that should be goal of the week. Or as I say on Twitter, Gozolazzo. Gozolazzo. Who asked you? I just made a hilarious one in the group chat where, let's see, I think I shouted out Bryce Richards earlier, but someone named, I'll find it, someone named Ghost MM8HN said, I always try to watch live. And I said, who said that? I don't see anyone. Because it was a ghost.
Horrible. studio.
No, I'm in the public chat, mate. I'm in the public chat, just having my own show over here.
Yeah. No, completely agree. And that goal, man, that was such a nice goal. I will go ahead to the 74th minute. I know we're keeping it going, but Atlanta come close again to tying the game. And now it's 3-2 in the 70th minute with Latte Lath. Okay. Best DP in MLS history, giving an assist, dribbling around the left side of the box and sending a ball across to Moranchuk, who buries a right-footed shot into the back of the net for his second goal. He had a great night. The rest of his team didn't, but obviously you have a brace and you're kind of happy for yourself in the stats, but really Atlanta looked really poor. And this game, like all the commentators are saying, was proof that something's wrong with Atlanta. It's not just that they had 2 games on the road or, slow start, or they're having some pieces that are not mixing well. One of the things I noticed too is Almiron really has taken a step back from before he went to the Premier League. Not the same Miguel Almiron. And these guys played pretty much majority of last season together as well. So that's where Hayden says, you got to break it down. You got to, sell everyone, buy, everything. And they do have money. Atlanta is one of the biggest spenders in the league. But a 3-2 result, no one predicted that correctly. Some people did give wins. Only one person was Mr. Negative and gave a loss. But 3-2 win. How do you guys feel overall? I'm going to go with LD because we don't get his thoughts.
Like I said, I think it just shows that
LD, how do you feel overall?
Pablo has really worked hard over this offseason. Him and Kurt Schmidt, obviously, and then the rest of the front office have worked hard to, I think, mesh their ideas together of what Pablo sees on the field and what Kurt can do to fulfill that personnel to, supply the vision that Pablo has. And it's all coming to fruition now in these first few games. And we're doing it without our best 11. That's the craziest part, is that it's kids that are showing up, but still, understanding the concepts that Pablo expects from his players and from the team overall, from their philosophy, and it's showing up on the field. And so I think after this game, it just makes me feel really excited what it's going to look like when our best 11 are out on the field. I can't wait to see what Pablo Mastroeni decides to do when he finally has the picking of his best 11 and decides, do I keep going with these kids who are, on fire right now? Do I throw in the guys that are expected to start because they're making the most money, but also have, the best potential to take our team to its furthest point this season? It's going to be a really fun conversation that we see coming up here pretty soon. But as an RSL fan right now, I just think you can't be, again, it's 3 games in, we don't have to be thinking we're on the way to winning MLS Cup, right? There's still a lot. It's a long season. A lot can happen, right? But I think it's something to say that if you can see your young guys doing it, your backups doing it and pulling it off, I think it shows that there's an understanding of what's expected of this team this year. And when the best 11 is available, that should only continue to heighten expectations. And so I'm just excited to see what the future holds in these next upcoming matches. And once we get Diego Luna back, Victor Latunji back, once we get a lot of the Visa guys that we're still waiting on. I know Stein Spearings was there. He was available, I think, off the bench, right? So it'll be, it'll be cool to see him get integrated into the squad. So there's just a lot of, that's the cool thing is we're doing so well. And there's a lot of stuff that we still haven't seen. You know what I mean? There's still a lot that we have to experience on players being into the lineups and things like that. So it's just an exciting time as an RSL fan. And we're winning games entertainingly. It's not like these gross, disgusting games that we're somehow pulling up the wins. We're a damn fun team to watch right now, which is, I think, one of the most exciting things.
Okay. Have fun. Okay. Final thoughts. I know. Disagreed with him. But Hayden, final thoughts on the game. And he's the highest paid midfielder. So that is also concerning. But I agree with you. CMs don't look great, but we haven't seen the starting CMs really together so far this season. Maddie, good. Maddie, final takes.
I want to point out that Noel Caliscan kicked off Aiden Hezarkhani's goal with a defensive clearance inside his own 18 that instead of going height, width, and distance, he passed it about 30 yards to, I believe it was Lucas Engel, who then promoted it up the field. So good shout for you, Noel. I will not hear any Griffin Dillon slander for 45 minutes. First time with RSL in front of what was it, 47,000 fans in an NFL stadium on newly laid grass, which I want to say that I was nervous about. Big flowers to the grounds crew in Atlanta because that surface looked spectacular. Good job, you guys. And I think that, yeah, but I mean, more, I don't care so much what it looked like. I like that the seams weren't coming up. You know, we've seen new laid grass before, and it doesn't always look right off the bat. The ball's like hitting divots and taking crazy bounces. I didn't see any of that. The ball looked like it was playing true across the pitch when they were playing it on the ground. I thought Luka was unlucky not to get an assist. He had a beautiful ball to put Morgan in, and Morgan was just snake bit in front of goal. Like every shot was getting blocked. I love the youth movement. I love that the Academy Monarchs pathway and the draft, I'm including that in the developmental pathway. No matter what you say about RSL missing 5 starters, no one on the field, again, in front of a big hostile crowd, looked like they couldn't do it. If not as a starter, then as a backup. So I don't know if you guys remember Aiden Hezarkhani when he came out of the box last year. It didn't look amazing. Sometimes you got to go out there, see what it's actually like, then take a step back, think about, you know, what you did well, what you did poorly, and how you can jump to the next level. And I'm telling you right now, Griffin Dillon can do it. I have such high hopes for that young man. I know David does too.
He's not a super draft pick, so I'm not slandering him.
He's a homegrown. Dude's a homegrown. Also went to college.
With two of them being away.
To put this briefly, 6 points through 3 matches. I'm thrilled. I'll take it. I'm happy.
Yeah. And let's get to the next match. So we have Austin coming in, and Austin got a red card, I believe, in their last match, which I always kind of look at that to see how weak is the team coming in. And I believe it's to their left back, Biro. They don't have Owen Wolf either, which I think is great for us. You know, I think Owen Wolf is one of those players that does have a great future. Vasquez is out. Haler is out. They are missing a lot of pieces. That red card did not help. Let's just talk through predictions. I know I have Hayden's, but Maddie, what do you predict for our second home game of the season?
3-1 RSL victory.
Okay. 3-1 Maddie.
And I'll just say that until Disco confirms that, I'm not saying there's no way that Biro comes back or that they're without Biro. Sent that the VAR review so that everyone could look at the red card challenge, because I looked at the scoreline and said, man, what's going on with Austin? And then I watched the match and I was like, oh, well, Charlotte seems to get some home cooking from the refs. I'll just say that. I believe it was Toklamati. Biro and Toklamati were dueling for a ball up against the sideline, and Biro was behind him and bumped him, fair, pulled his arm, fair, when Toklamati kind of threw his right leg out in like a slant cockeyed motion as Biro's foot was coming down, and Biro absolutely stood on his Achilles. And if you freeze frame it, that looks awful. But when you watch the whole play, I really thought yellow was fair. I understand why they went to red looking at that visual. But man, if Disco overturns this, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they're going to, but if they did, I wouldn't be shocked.
We'll see, yeah. But as of right now, they're not going to have Biro.
This is going to be the first game where we post
what do you have
a clean
for
sheet.
Your prediction?
I don't think we're going to get scored on this game. I think we're going to go off. I'm actually predicting a 3-0 win against Austin at home at AFF, also known as the Riot. So I'm really excited to watch this game. I think this is where we claim our stake in the league right now, where we're legit. We're here, you know. Not that Austin's that great right now, but still, I think it'll be a pretty dominant game. I'm predicting. So 3-0 RSL, first clean sheet of the year.
Hayden, go ahead. Sounds good. And I did forget, we didn't review our stars of the game for Atlanta. I know that was an initiative by, the old Hayden that, this is not even a show anymore, but we should probably just give it a shout out. I would, a lot of people, I even have Hayden's here. You put Aiden, Gozo, Morgan. I think that's enough said. We talked about it. They were all pretty stellar. For me, I would actually just do really Gozo. I'll put Sergi as a super draft hater that I am, and then Morgan. So those are my 3. Jimmy put Gozo, Morgan, and Glad, which I think is a fair shout. Glad was great back there. Maddie, real quick, who are your 3 stars from the Atlanta game?
In no particular order. I'm going Sergi Solans, Aiden Hezarkhani, and this might surprise some people, Philip Quinton, deputizing at right center back, a position he hasn't played before, before the previous match, basically, is currently leading the team in assists with 2. So got to give PQ some love. While he was a super draft pick originally, RSL got him for the unconscionably low number of up to 200,000 in GAM back in 2024. Bargain basement player, cast off by his previous team. Someone that we tried to draft, actually, in the super draft. Darn it, Columbus got him. I'm real happy to see him doing well and leading the team in assists.
My boy
LD,
Hezi,
before your Wi-Fi
Sergi,
cuts out, your
and Morgan.
3 stars of
Plain
the
and simple.
game. Nice. Very good. And they all got on the score sheet, so very nice. I do like Matty Shout with Quinton. I like how he's becoming more prominent. So all of us, Jimmy did not give us his prediction. I asked 3 times in the chat, and really, he refused to tell me what he thinks in this next match.
Just give him
So he's going to get a 0. Just like there. Or should I just make up a crazy scoreline? Like 7-0 Austin. Sounds good. Well, unless you count Hayden's new adjustment, we're all going with wins, just different scoreline. I'm going 2-0. I'm with LD. We're going to have our first shutout. I don't think Austin's attack is where it should be, and I don't really feel threatened by it right now, especially with their players out. To go into another game that was played this last weekend, and we're just going to give it a Monarch moment, okay? Because these guys did ball out. We have to give them the respect. 5-0, the Real Monarchs won, and all goals from players that needed goals, honestly. These are great players that hopefully I see more of. I want to see more of Marcus Zambrano on the first team, but he scores in a great, clean touch to start it off. It was just kind of like a chip, you could say. A lob at the 18th minute. Ruben Masalis, who is really hot this season already, 26th minute. Marcus Zambrano again with a penalty, and this is where it gets exciting. Antonio Riquelme, who is the young, up-and-coming, right after Gozo, we're going to get him, and he's going to play amazing. 71 minute, and that goal is a stunner. Honestly, hits the roof of the net and was amazing. I think 7.
He might be 17, but he's young.
He's young. And I would say that he not only can he play for the United States team, the Chilean national team, and that he's getting looks from both. He's getting reps, and people are loving how he's doing. And he got a lot of shout outs too in preseason from Pablo. The last player is the player that I thought needed the goal the most, and I'm excited for this player. I know that he might be a year out, but Owen Anderson gets the final goal, so 5-0 for the Monarchs, from a player that, as LD pointed out, it's going to be complicated to see how the bench is going to look. This player is not even on Real Salt Lake's bench, and he was my breakout player as well with LD, Tyler Wolff. So Tyler Wolff got that assist to Owen Anderson. However, the Tyler Wolff stock is not looking good for us right now, as if you're playing on the Monarchs and he's even on the bench for the Monarchs, that's not where you want to be, especially when we have a lot of injuries on the first team level. But overall, the Monarchs did great. Maddie, you can say something so I don't just sound like the only Monarch lunatic here, but it was a great game overall.
Incredibly fun match to watch. Let's not overlook Max Kirkfleet in goal, got a clean sheet and made some saves early of the highlight reel variety. He did his best Peter Schmeichel impression early in a one-on-one where he did that starfish, which I used to love from watching Man U way back in the day. Also, they are going to be back in town if you want to see the young players in RSL's pipeline before they make the first team so that you can say, I used to watch that guy when. Come on out to Harriman this Sunday. They're going to play LAFC 2. I believe it's at 3 or 3:30. And stay tuned to my Twitter account because I'm trying to lock the team down on this. The last match, they did not charge admission. And there are discussions that they're not going to charge admission all year because they want fans to be there. They want fans to see these guys play. If you come out to that game, please come up and say hi to me. I'll be in the press box. But I get there early. I'll be walking around at halftime. Come talk to me.
And Maddie, you were talking to me before the pod. You have a special message to an RSL supporter right now, correct?
Yes. So those who have been paying attention to the news may know there is a longtime RSL supporter who is going through an incredibly difficult time right now. I don't want to get too specific and invade this person's privacy. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know who I'm talking about. But I just want to say that you are very much in our thoughts. We very much believe here at this podcast that while football can bring people together, and it does, and it's beautiful when it does so, when things are good, it also has to bring us together when things are bad. There is a GoFundMe out there. So if you know what I'm talking about, you know who to look for. But regardless, just an unbelievable tragedy that I can't comprehend what that would be like. And I just want to say you're in our thoughts. And if there's ever anything that we can do, please reach out.
Of course. Yeah. I'll just say this. I love you guys. I love the supporters as well. I've never really met anyone that I've really disliked in this community, other than Maddie. But I will say that
I'm just a big bully.
Yeah, we're always there for each other. And if you ever need a move, there's Jimmy, our producer, that might even start a company just because he's such a nice guy. But overall, we love this community. LD.
Hayden left off the example of the GoFundMe that all the RSL supporters raised for his Hooked on Phonics. And so I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
I love it. Okay, well, it is getting late, guys. It's Monday night, so I certainly want to get some sleep. Yeah, probably for you guys, for sure. Yeah, well, I think we covered pretty much everything. Like, subscribe, follow. Just, we'll support you guys as much as you guys support us. Not anymore, though. Not anymore. But overall, thank you guys for listening to the pod, and catch you next week. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Stud.
Trying.